Hey everyone, you're listening to another episode of You're Human, episode 18. Crazy that we made it this far, but we're still kicking it. So this is the call-in show where nothing's off the table. It's as real as and authentic as it gets. There are no filters as far as who can call and who can't. So, it's kind of like the jungle, baby, the way I live my life. But yeah, if you're listening, you want to call in, it is 512-523-5609. The lines are open and we are here. So just got done swimming, just actually got out of the shower. It's been, got a good workout in this morning. Just out doing badass stuff. So really, I don't know if you guys checked it out or not, but go to the Instagram or go over to Facebook. You can see all of it. I put the links in there. We went out, Team Austin, Texas, went out to the Firefighter Challenge and we represented, busted ass. Just really such an incredible experience though. Like, I got to be honest, it was around just, it was just like a area of just a lot of people, like the epitome of what I believe the fire service was. And people working hard, competing, pushing each other to get better. Just really all that was there. So such a badass atmosphere. I was honored, really. The one of the biggest honors was my kids being able to be there and watch these incredible human beings and to watch these females crush the same things that males were doing, right? Like in them being able to see that, hey, look, these people are badass.
I saw your video on Facebook Watch, man. You crushed it. How many times did you go in? I saw the first one and the last one.
So we ran a first one, like a qualifying round on Thursday. And then Saturday was the final. Those were individuals. But then we also we did relays as well. So we set a U.S. world record in the relay.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Holy smokes. And so when you say we, like there was a team component.
Yeah, so it was Jared, Jason, Larry, myself, and Ed.
Wow, congratulations, man. That's a big deal out here setting records.
Well, they were. I was just a fill-in.
Yeah, right. How did it feel, man?
It sucked.
Did it?
It was hard.
Did you ever, how competitive were you about it? Like, I know last time you said you just wanted to finish, but you guys set a record.
You're competitive. Like, you don't want to lose, right? So, yeah, it was a competition for sure.
Man, I'm so proud of you. It's awesome. The journey's been amazing. I recommend people watch the YouTube show as well so they can see the behind the scenes. Absolutely crushing it.
Yeah, it's insane.
I got a question here from Instagram as we're waiting for some calls to come in. What are you most afraid of?
I've said this a lot of times, but I think that like my biggest fear is not being able to be what someone needs me to be when they need me to be it, right? Which is why I keep doing what I do. It's why I push myself as hard as I can push myself. But it's about, I put myself out there to, I take pride in the oath that I take as a protector, as someone that wants to help other people. And with that comes responsibility, right? And so, but it's everybody. It's my kids. Like, what if I'm not what they need me to be when they need me to be it, right? What if I'm driving down the road or, or Lauren or anybody, right? So it's like, when you care about people and people rely on you, then, there's a responsibility to try to uphold that oath. And, that's what pushes me, is to make sure that when that moment comes, that I am needed, that I can be that.
Absolutely. Got another question. As a proud American, what can I do to change the direction of where the U.S. is?
You could just be the person that you think the U.S. deserves, right? If we're all that, then that fixes it. But, I was thinking about this the other day when people talk about America going to shit. Because we get one question every podcast. We'll answer this call. Hey, it's Dakota with your Human Podcast.
Hey, Dakota.
Yes, sir.
My name is Daryl Hunt.
How are you?
I'm great. My son was former Lieutenant Colonel John Hunt. I believe you served with him.
I think he was my company commander.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
What an incredible guy.
Oh man,
I think he was Captain Hunt.
he was captain.
He was Captain Hunt, and I used to, as a sniper, my team was directly attached to his company.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Well, you know, I don't know a whole lot about that time because he never talks.
Yeah.
You know, of course, he's retired now and everything, but
How's he doing?
oh, he's doing great. He's working for Amazon, making more money than any man ought to.
I love that guy. I gotta tell you, you know, a lot of, you know, Captain Hunt, he really, you know, I'll never, I mean, obviously I remember him, and he really, you know, influenced me at a time of my life that, you know, was instrumental to me becoming a leader. And, you know, he held me accountable. He also gave me the opportunity to exercise my skills, right? And a lot of times as a sniper, you know, we come in and we're looked at as cowboys, and these, you know, these company commanders who employ us, right? They never wanted to give us opportunity. Like the best way they could think to use us is, hey, you want to go up on top of this house and see if you can see something? Because that's what snipers do. But, you know, but Captain Hunt, you know, he really always was engaged at hearing us, I mean, challenging us, and really letting us, you know, using us to our full capabilities. And all around as a leader, I mean, he's an astronomical leader.
You know, of course, I followed him through his whole career as his dad, and I was just continually amazed at the evaluations he got and the jobs that he did, and you know, one of the biggest surprises I ever got was at a change of command ceremony out in Pendleton, where his commanding officer, I don't remember the general's name, said probably the best testimony to the kind of man that Colonel Hunt is that a living recipient of the Medal of Honor.
Yeah,
he was the best commander he had.
Yeah, he's incredible. I mean, he really was you know, and the thing about him is he didn't lead with the do as I say style. Like he led as do as I do, right? And he was always an example for every single one of us to look at, to want to mimic and emulate. And me being enlisted, you didn't see that much in the officer side, right? Like you didn't get that much from the officer side. You know, that's not a common trait as an officer to not only to be an example to what the enlisted should be, but like it was really an awesome thing that you know that he held himself, you know, with the highest regards as far as being an officer, and you knew that. But like, I'll tell you this, Captain Hunt was, I mean, if he needed to roll his sleeves up and get in the dirt with you and get in there and get in the weeds, he was not too good for it. And that was always the most respected thing that I had for that man.
Oh, that's so good to hear. You know, as a father, of course, you love to hear things like that about your son. The thing that I always told him, you know, he was, growing up, he was kind of always the smallest guy in his class, and going to college and being in the Corps Cadets at Texas A&M, he never achieved what he should have because there were politics and guys' parents were big donors. But I always told him, I said, John, when you get commissioned, the playing field is going to be level. And
yeah.
You're gonna succeed, and he did and has,
and he has, and like that guy right there, like you know, when I look at it as far as like leadership that I've had throughout my life, right, and I always talk about that I am like I can't take any credit for who I am. I've just always been surrounded by just a man surrounded by giants, right? Like I've just always, for some reason, I've landed in spots to where I've had instrumental leaders like him that are just, if people think that I've accomplished something or that I know something, they should see the people that taught me, right? And he's by far in the top of the leaders that I have ever had the honor to serve under.
That's so good of you to say so. I'm I follow you on Facebook, and every so often I ask if he's ever, when was the last time he saw your doctor or whatever, like, and
I think it was at Pendleton.
probably was. Yeah.
Yeah.
He lives in the Fort Worth area now, in Argyle.
He does?
Oh yeah.
So he lives out here in Dallas?
Over the Fort Worth.
Yeah.
Fort Worth in Argyle. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have to get your info, and then I'll reach out to you so I can get his info, because I'm going to be up there in a few weeks, and so maybe I can link up with him.
That'd be great. Yeah. So how do we do this?
What I'll do is Knives, do you see who he is?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. So Knives sees who you are, and what we'll do is we'll be in touch with you after the show's over.
That's wonderful.
Because I would love to see him. I mean, he might not want to see me, because I remember what kind of shithead I was when I was under him, but
I'd never heard him say anything derogatory.
yeah, he wouldn't. You know what I mean? Even if he didn't like me, he wouldn't, right? Like he's that kind of guy. Like he's just, he just, yeah. I mean, let me tell you this. You did a great job. I hope that my children can influence and have the impact on people half as much as your son has.
Oh, well, I don't know what to say, but God bless you, brother. Thank you so much.
God bless you. And I'll be in touch with you. I'm going to get that number, okay? Thank you for calling.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. Have a great day. What an awesome guy.
Yeah, we'll follow up with him for sure.
Yeah, you talk about blast from the past, man. Captain Hunt was meat eater. Hey, it's Dakota with your. Oh,
that was the same number.
Oh,
I called it by accident.
Yeah. Captain Hunt, he was a meat eater. Just a really like you talk about a leader, like, yeah. Hey, it's Dakota with Your Human Podcast.
Hey, Dakota. Hey, this is Jeff Swire. How are you, bud?
Good. How are you?
Good, brother. Hey, I just want to say thank you for all you have done, of course, and what you continue to do, both with the podcast and of course, as a firefighter, I've been watching your training videos. That's been quite entertaining.
Yeah, it's my honor,
brother. I run a nonprofit here in Northeast Pennsylvania called Patriots Cove.
Oh, badass!
And we have a wonderful team. I medically retired in 2014. Some kind of a strange situation, but my wife and I had bought this property. Initially, it was 18 acres, and long story short, we created took this 18 acres, and I had a stream that ran through the middle of it, and we made it handicap accessible, and we started to bring in brothers and sisters, both injured and ill, Vietnam era veterans all the way through, our generation of warriors, and I've learned so much, and I can't tell you, it's life-changing, losing my career and all that stuff, and then understanding, being ill myself, understanding what our brothers and sisters go through to try to figure out themselves after service, right?
Yeah.
We lose our identity, our purpose, our mission, and we see here at our facility again. It's veterans from all era. We've had our brothers come that were end of life. Vietnam era veterans. Succumbing finally to cancer or something from Agent Orange or things like that. Our brothers and sisters with MS or other stricken with other diseases that, of course, they didn't look for or ask for. But trying to come to terms with that. What does your life look like afterwards? and of course, we deal with post-traumatic stress and depression issues and anxiety. So we get the gamut when it comes to injuries and illnesses, both from our first responders and our veterans. And the biggest thing is, though, is learning. And I've heard you talk about this. In fact, recently, I think you spoke about, the entitlement part, right? We get veterans that are struggling that just hate to reach out, just don't feel worthy of going to a place like our facility or whatever, really struggling to find footing. And then you have others, of course, that are kind of on the wrong path and they feel like they're owed something, and they're looking for that free thing. And we really try to look at this in a different way. We want to say, look, none of us are owed anything. Our generation, we chose to serve. Now, we didn't choose to get injured. We didn't choose to get a disease. We didn't choose to have issues, but we chose to serve our country because we believed in it, or hopefully continue to believe in it. And we do take these, everybody as an individual. It's a team environment, mind you, but we take each individual and we look at them and say, where can we help you re-engage the world? The world needs us. People like you, people like, our brothers and sisters that have knowledge. Maybe they're missing arms and legs. Maybe they're have a terrible disease, but we still have value and purpose. The world needs us to stay engaged. We can still make a difference in this world, even if we're banged up, And I think it's important for people like you that have gone through so much and have a platform, and you're willing to say the things that need to be said. On behalf of our team, we greatly appreciate that.
Man, that means a lot. Yeah, I appreciate what you're doing. Yeah, I mean that all is stuff that's needed. You know what I mean? That is.
Well, this is our generations of the VFW and the Legion, right? You and I have seen this growth throughout our country, where there's veteran organizations all over the place. Back in the day, it was the Legion and VFW after World War II really that kind of took hold and was there for our veterans and stuff to whatever degree. But our generation still wants to hunt and fish, right? We still want to get out and try. At least most of us do. We're not ready to sit in a bar or whatever and tell all of our war stories. So these facilities like Patriots Cove are important. Now, the VA and other organizations, government organizations, may not see us as important, but I know the good works that
That's just because you don't have let's be honest. It's because you don't have an office in DC, right? That's why the VFW and the Legion and any of those still exist, is because they have an office in DC. You know what I mean? That's why. I mean, look, I think all of this is needed. I do always think that I couldn't imagine that the military was my identity. I mean, it was for 4 years, but I mean, I couldn't imagine living 70 years and 4 years was my entire book.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy, right? And look, for a ton of reasons, mostly money, we've all been, we were given this idea that, we lost our purpose. Bullshit. There's plenty of, our community needs us. There's plenty of places to serve. You did plenty of shit in the military that you didn't like doing. But you did it because it was part of it. It was part of the greater good. That's everywhere, right? But again, sometimes it comes off to me that when I hear veterans get out and they're like, oh, I don't like civilians, or they just don't get me, or they gum up with this phrase of, I lost my purpose. It's like, well, do you only, maybe it's because you stopped getting paid, right? There's plenty of ways, there's plenty of places to find purpose inside of all of our communities. And I believe that that's the difference between, where that's going to be the deciding factor of our generation is, is going to be if we turn out like the World War II generation, right? Like it wasn't the fact that they won the nation's battles. It was the fact that they came back and took that same love for their country, that same patriotism, and they infused it into their communities that they fought so hard to protect and defend. And they came back and they were involved. And it wasn't the, well, you owe me or I'm broken. Like, because here's the reality.
That's right.
The reality is this, is like, you know, unless, you know, I mean, the reality is this, is like, none of our traumas are unique to us as veterans.
Correct.
I mean, listen, there's not one thing that a veteran has seen that somebody, I mean, oh, you were in gunfights? Well, go talk to inner city kids in Chicago.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like it's like these are, but where we've got to come together is our comeback of being able to look and be like, yeah, I went through this, but look at what we're doing now.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I can do it, you can do it. Right? Like that's kind of that's it, you know, and it's a frustrating thing, but you know, and it's hard. It's not easy, but I mean, gosh, life isn't easy for anybody.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I agree, but here's the thing. I would say I did 22 and a half years.
Mm-hmm.
And so much of my, you know, adult life was military. And to your point, there was a lot of crap when I was wearing a uniform that I just didn't enjoy.
Yeah.
You know, but there are connections, there are languages, there are connections in the military that are unique to our group of people, right? But I think there are too many organizations that are it's more, I want to say this politely, but it's a hug fest, right? But like you said, you know, we're not owed anything. We need to re-engage. We have wisdom, knowledge, experiences that some people won't have.
Do you run around like, do you like, but here's my thing. I don't see people who got out after 20 some years running around acting like victims.
That's right.
So my thing to you is like, do you have purpose today?
I do.
So you were in the longest. So theoretically, your identity should be more tied to your service than anybody that served 4 years.
Right.
Were you able to find purpose when you got out?
Yes. Initially, it was difficult.
Well, initially, when you go to middle school, from middle school to high school, it's difficult.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like initially, when you have a newborn child and you become a parent, it's difficult. Initially, when you get married, it's difficult. Yep. You know what I mean?
Yep, I agree. And that's why we challenge people's thoughts, right? We ask the questions. You know, we say, hey, you know, where are you at? You know, what are you doing? Are you taking more than you're giving? They're the kind of questions that we talk about here, because we care, because we want them to be strong for themselves and the world around them.
Hell yeah.
You know,
I got to be honest.
And that's,
I got to be honest with you. I'm more in line with you now than when we started talking.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like 100% I'm on board with you, right? Like, you know what we've forgotten? And you tell me, like, you're going to be probably, because you're in this wheelhouse, you're probably going to be more statistically tied to this and understand this better than me. So maybe you can educate me, right?
Sure.
Since we've gone soft on everybody that, hey, you know, you deserve this and you're, you know,
yep.
The mental health crisis, has it gotten, and we've added more counselors out there and we've gotten more medications for this shit. And we have gone softer on people like, hey, you know, you need some you time. You know, you need to rest. Let me ask you this. Has the mental health crisis gotten better or worse?
Worse.
So like, I believe it's back to brotherhood.
It is.
And
challenging ourselves, holding us accountable.
Each other. Right. Like, you know what? Right. Like if you think I'm fucked up and I ask you, hey man, what do you like? I'm struggling right now. I'm depressed. And you're like, man, maybe you need to go talk to somebody. Like, why don't you talk to me? Like, yeah, you might not know all the theories behind, why the dopamine's doing, all this other bullshit, right? But like, how about you look at me and say, hey, Dakota,
We're not clinicians.
huh?
Yeah, we're not clinicians.
No,
man.
we're not clinicians, right? But let me say this. Like, I'm also not a veterinarian, but I can tell you the difference between a horse and a fucking cow, right? And so like, if you look at me and you're like, oh, Dakota, your anxiety's bad? Yeah, man, it's bad. Well, you're drinking 5 energy drinks a day. You're not sleeping because you're staying up on your phone all night. And also, you're drinking energy drinks till 8 o'clock at night. You're not working out and you're drinking every day. I mean, look, you don't have to go get a bunch of letters behind your name to add that math up.
Yep.
Am I wrong?
No, and you're absolutely right. And Dakota, I'm going to be honest with you, but this is why I'm going to. Obviously, I didn't want to pitch it this way, but I would love for you to be here, not just for people, some of our guests, some of our brothers and sisters that come to get a chance to get your perspective, but for the team as well.
Yeah.
Right, because our team is made up of majority of our team members are prior participants.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're doing something different. Like, it's about giving, right? Being selfless. Give of yourself. You want to help yourself? Help somebody else. Look how hard their life is. Help them through something, and that'll help you through something.
But you want to know what the number one problem of people being able to call each other out is?
What's that?
To call somebody out, you have to be living it too.
Yep.
And that's the problem, right? Like, I've never had anybody. I mean, I call people out all the time, and like, I don't get harassment. You know what I mean? I never got in trouble for hazing or any of that, because you want to know why? Because I had credibility that they knew that I was working 10 times harder than they were.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean? And so I'd love to come up. Listen, shoot me an email. And Knives, can you text him over an email from his number?
Yeah.
Okay, Knives is going to send you an email. Shoot me an email, and I'll get you with my team, and we'll get up there and see if we can swing in and say hi.
That'd be awesome. And brother, just so you know, October 6th, we've got a special event. It's honoring fallen first responders. We do it twice a year. One for our brothers and sisters, veterans. That's the Friday of Memorial Day, and then also the first Friday of October. So October 6th this year. Again, if you're available and you want to come up, we'll get you here, kind of thing.
Man, I would, but I'm going to tell you.
You're probably booked out.
I'm running my Firefighter Challenge Worlds in Florida, or I would be there.
Oh, dang. Yeah, that's cool.
So,
but again, that's awesome. Like I said, just getting a chance to catch up. Again, I think you and I think a lot alike, and I want to continue to do good. Again, getting people out and spending time, holding each other accountable, looking at how we can help each other move forward, and not get out of that victim mentality. We all got demons, man.
We all got them. You know what? We all got them. And guess what? Anybody over the age of 18 has dealt with a hard day, right? And it might not be a hard day to you, it might not be a hard day to me, but it was a hard day to them, and we can all relate that it's what a hard day's like, right? And
that's right.
We got to push each other to get better and stronger, not to beat each other down, but to make sure that they can, we're ready for what's next.
That's it. Amen to that, brother.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, Dakota, for everything.
Yes, no, thanks for calling, man. We'll be in touch.
All right, buddy. Thanks. Bye.
Man, what a good guy.
What a good guy with a good cause right there.
Yeah, such a good cause, man.
We've got his information down, so we'll definitely follow up with him.
Hell yeah.
Let me ask you a question. What is your favorite thing about being a parent?
That you get to mold and influence 2 human beings to go out and make the world better, hopefully, right? Like, it's just such a cool thing. I love my daughters. They're incredible.
Great kids. How do you get out of living paycheck to paycheck? I'm working my ass off. You got to stop spending more than you're making. Right. And it's a balance, and it's a goal, and having goals and finding a way to achieve those goals. Right. And,
There's a lot to it, but you're going to have to sacrifice one or the other. Sacrifice on what you're spending and how you're living in order to save money to get ahead, or you can sacrifice your time that you have at home and work more jobs in order. You know what I mean? But either one is going to take sacrifice to get ahead.
Dakota, this is coal miner Shane. Will we ever see you in politics?
Not right now. Not right now. I love what I'm doing, so no, not right now.
How are things for you, Dakota, mentally and physically? Are you doing well? Have you put out a book about your experiences?
I'm doing great, right? So I'm in the middle. I'm trying to finish up this book right now. Hopefully I've got it done by the end of August, bring it to publication by the end of the year. So really excited about that. So yeah, but I mean, I'm the best today that I've ever been in my entire life, mentally and physically.
Hell yeah, I can tell. I love it. What do you think about the Jason Aldean controversy? Ever heard about this?
I think it's bullshit. I think it's complete bullshit. This is, it's bullshit, right? But again, I love Jason Aldean and I love his wife, her support, and I love to see the people that are coming out and supporting him and not willing to back down and back off of it.
Do you trust the VA?
Do I trust the VA? The VA, when you talk about the VA, you're talking about a 10,000 pound gorilla, right? And this is where people get it wrong with the VA. I think the GI Bill is great. I think that their vocational stuff is great. I think that, they have a lot of, their CVE program, all this, right? I think that, or CVA, whatever it is. And then I also think that their, the disability side, their home loan stuff is incredible. The medical though is hit or miss, right? The way the VA works is you've got the big VA that's up in DC, but each VA region is its own region. And so there's some badass VAs and then there's some that aren't so good. And so, but am I going to get my healthcare at the VA? I'm not taking my chance because I've had quite a few bad experiences.
Do you miss the Marine Corps?
Do I miss the Marine Corps? I don't miss anything, first off. I really don't. I really don't think about it like that. I appreciate what the Marine Corps did for me. I love the Marine Corps. Like, it was a huge piece of my life. But I don't miss high school either. You know what I mean? Like, high school taught me a lot, but I wouldn't want to go back through it. I miss the Marine Corps. My 21-year-old mind misses the Marine Corps, but I couldn't say that I miss it today.
Hey brother, touch on men holding each other accountable. I have met some women that have been so messed up by dirtbags.
Yeah, I mean, men holding each other accountable. I mean, it's like I talk about everything is iron sharpens iron. It's literally the first 3 words that I ever put out on a t-shirt from my Own the Dash brand. And I believe in it with every moral fiber of my being is like, look, there's nothing nothing easy about making the hardest steel. And I believe that we've got to hold each other accountable. We got to call each other out. None of us are perfect, but we've got to care about each other enough to hold each other to a standard that dictates that they'll accept nothing less than being the best.
So I got a question for me personally, going back to the call that you had prior, calling people out, you also got to live it. Mm-hmm. How do we do that with family? If we feel that we might lose that relationship, calling them out, it might hurt their feelings. They might hold a grudge, whatever the case will be. How do we do that with family?
Well, that's you putting what's best for you before what's best for them.
That relationship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's you. That's you saying, hey, I'm going to do I care about the relationship and I'm not going to do what they need me to do, even if it's at the risk of losing what I want.
Yeah, so it's very selfish.
Because here's the thing, is if you called me out and I ended the relationship over that, did I really value the relationship?
That's a great question.
Because let me ask you this, could I call you out? What if they called you out? Would you end the relationship?
No.
Why?
I'm not that fragile. Yeah.
Well, because you value the relationship.
You value the relationship and the feedback.
So again,
Not everybody's built that way.
okay, but do you want a relationship? Like again, if I'm playing with my cash and you're playing with your credit card gambling, is that how do you think that's equal?
Oh, I see. I got what you're saying.
So again, or let me put it this way, right? A better way. The relationship is conditional to them, but unconditional to you. Like, I mean, who fucking loses at that one?
Man, yeah, definitely, 100%.
But again, if you want to do what's best for you, do what's best for you. But don't say that you're doing what's best for you in order for them, because you're not doing what's best for them. That's emotions talking.
Yeah, you just unlocked something right there for me. I appreciate that. Got a question here. What is the most challenging aspect of firefighting that people may not be aware of?
So I think one thing that's underestimated, as far as, here we go. Hey, it's Dakota. It's Your Human Podcast.
Oh, hey, I got through. Wow, that's amazing.
What's going on?
Honor to talk to you, man.
Hey.
Wow. I'm an Iraq veteran. I was
Hell yeah.
there in the initial invasion, and I went back from 04 to 05. I haven't. Are you planning on going on to Joe Rogan's show again?
Hopefully. I had to talk to Joe, but maybe, hopefully this fall or something. Maybe sometime.
That's super cool. Do you talk about politics at all?
I do, yeah. I mean, I'm all about that. Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about anything.
So, what do you think about the ideas that, like, there's just a uni party and people aren't really representing the majority of Americans? What do you think about that?
Like, in what aspect?
Like, it's kind of just a game. There's kind of like this just class of people that are basically a ruling class, and they're just pretending to be on brand with certain, political movements like conservative or liberal, but really they're just a bunch of criminals that are rigging the game in their own favor.
100%. I mean, you can see that by yeah. I mean, look, our checks and balances. I mean, look, you've got an administration that is, that has weaponized, the judicial system, right? I mean, 100%. And look, I don't care if it's Republicans or Democrats; they're all doing it. Like, understand that, like, that it's not. It is not just one-sided. You know what I mean? And so, I think we need new leadership. I think that we need a clean out of all of it, right? And but I also have to say this, that the government only has so much power, right? Like, it is we the people, and I still believe that. I mean, voting and all this, like, I still believe in that whole system. So I don't think that we have a system problem. I think that we have a people problem.
Yeah, that's probably part of it. It's people are scared. There's a lot of coercion coming from the government. So,
I mean, but like what? Like, what's the coercion coming from the government?
Well, let's use the pandemic as an example.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the idea that they shut everything down and we're trying to push a vaccine, kind of testing it on everybody.
They didn't shut me down. So, I mean, I guess if they shut everybody else down, I mean, again, like, I look at the pandemic, I see the good in people, right? And so let me tell you how. Like, the only reason the government shut everybody down was because they were able to pitch and make Americans think that they were going to hurt each other. And once they seen that wasn't the case, Americans went back to doing whatever the fuck they wanted to do. And so
that was kind of my attitude from being, I guess, in Kuwait when they're launching, missiles at the base I was at in Kuwait during the beginning of the whole thing. Like, that kind of, when the pandemic thing started, when people started wearing masks and social distancing and all that, I was like, dude, this isn't sustainable. This is like...
Yeah, and did it sustain?
If it's that easy for us to die, then we're just better off dead, basically. I don't know. But
yeah.
It's just like... So I just had this attitude, like, it was kind of frustrating to me because I just wanted to tell that to everybody. It's like, dude, you guys just fuck that, keep going. But anyway...
but let me tell you this, like, the epitome of an American is they're not here to hurt their fellow man. Right. And you've seen that. You've seen that in the pandemic, right? Like, do I think, yeah, it was fucked up the government pitched this. But I seen, look, everybody came together during 9/11, right? After that, like, oh, you want to fuck with us? You're going to hurt Americans? Like everybody's waving flags, right? Yeah. And the pandemic, everybody looks at it as like, oh, these people are so stupid. No. People didn't want to hurt each other. And then once they figured out that they weren't going to hurt each other, they went back to doing whatever the hell they wanted to do, right? But it still shows me that Americans still care about Americans.
That's a really different perspective than I have on it.
Yeah, but the news hasn't told you that.
I have to factor that in and think about that, but it's way different than the way I looked at it. I see it a lot differently than you, but I like your positive spin on a lot of things. I do want to call in again. I just wrote a book, and it's going to be available probably within the next couple months, and I just wanted to bring it up. Like, I'm a disabled veteran, so I spend my time writing and doing artwork. So my name's Daniel G. Buff, and the book is called War Brats, and hopefully I can get people to hear about it. I'm trying to figure out how to market it.
Yeah, where are they gonna be able to get it at?
It's gonna be on Amazon, and then I forgot what the other one is. It's the other popular book site, but of course everything has to be on Amazon these days, and then I'll set up a website for it to be ordered through as well. But yeah, War Brats, dystopian future. It's kind of about like people trying to overthrow a tyranny in the future, and all the future stuff. So it's going to be fun. There's a lot of there's veteran humor in it, but there's other types of humor in it too. So
hell yeah,
it's kind of like Fight Club in 1984 had a baby or something like that.
I love it. Well, badass, man. Yeah, we'll promote it, and then we look forward to seeing it.
All right, man. I'll be calling in again sometime. You take care. Okay,
thanks, brother. You too. Bye.
Are you aware that there's pictures being stolen and used to scam people? Pictures of you?
Yeah. Are you aware that you shouldn't try to date somebody online that you've never met? Anyways, yeah, I get these all the time, right? Like I get people all the time like, oh yeah, you scam me out of your money. Like, no. What you should not look. PSA. Is that what you say?
PSA, public service announcement.
A PSA, you should not date someone offline, give them money or fall in love with them if you have never met them in person. There is your episode PSA. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 18 of You're Human. We'll be back next Tuesday at noon. Call in with all your questions. Appreciate all of you all so much, and I hope you have a great week and keep owning it.